ready, girl. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? While I'm waiting, I'm really just waiting for my phone to like pop up so I can share this and get it going. But I figure while I'm waiting, let me get myself in the mood, right? Hey. I hope it is streaming to everybody because earlier it was set up incorrectly. And I don't even see me popping up over here. There it is. There I am. So then let me share it real quick while I'm waiting for people to pop in. I'm share. And I'm going to share of myself. Yay. All right. I said I was going to do a part 2. This is part 2. I'm excited to be back for part 2. That's Word of Wisdom. I got one more page. I see people popping in. Hi, y'all. I don't know where y'all watching from, but thank y'all for popping in. Y'all, if you've never watched me before, I'm just letting you know now that I am sharing to some other pages because even though I have this internal studio set up, I don't like the way the studio does my numbers. And so on Facebook, I want all my pages to be watching under one. So y'all just thank y'all for giving me that little moment. Yes. Okay. It's gonna be good. Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I promise. Let me go here. Okay. I'm gonna go live on Instagram. Go live. Check out my connection. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody on every channel and platform. How y'all doing? I'm so glad to be back. Earlier, I went live earlier, and I went live for a few seconds. I forgot to text a friend of mine who was looking for my second part earlier. I was like, I'm at the dealership. I wanted to let him know that I was live, but I posted earlier, and man, earlier, she loud. That's me. But earlier, man, I was kind of going through a lot of things, right? So, but this came up earlier because I was talking about how to go from overwhelmed to overcome. And we can be so overwhelmed sometimes that we forget that we were created to overcome. We forget that we were built to overcome. We forget that the framework of our existence is to overcome, right? We're not built to do anything but overcome, yet we tend to succumb to things and situations, and we don't always put on the mantle of the overcoming spirit that we have that's so ingrained in who we are. So I don't know why Siri popped up just now. I must have said something that sounded like her name, but she's so nosy. But but yeah, and so earlier today, if you didn't see part 1, I'll just quickly reiterate what brought this up. So first of all, it's the first, and everybody knows what you're doing the first, right? You pay rent. So this morning, I had to pay my rent, had to pay my other bills. And yesterday, so I'm gonna start with yesterday. Yesterday, my daughter and I were gonna run some quick errands, and I go out to the garage and I try to start my car, and battery dead, just dead. Why Jesus, why is it dead? So I had to call for roadside assistance, and roadside assistance gets here, and the minute he gets here, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, I forgot my jump box. Now, when you put in a call for roadside assistance, you put in the call for what it is. So he knew he was arriving to a dead battery, but he showed up without a jump box. So he was like, I'm sorry, I have to leave and go get my jump box. And I was like, okay. He was like, well, do you mind? Whether I mind or not, I mean, we can't. I mean, I do believe that we have all type of powers, but I just don't know yet. I know I possibly can. I just don't know how to use my fingers to jump my battery. So of course I don't mind. Go get your jump box, right? And he better be glad that she wasn't checked in. Like that girl that lived in my head wasn't checked in, because I don't know what I would have said to him. But I was just like, okay, so I come back in the house and I have to wait, right? He comes back, he jumps the car, he apologizes. It takes 42 seconds and a half a minute, right? Jumps the car, he leaves, tells me to leave it running. So I left it running, right? And then I went and drove it around for an hour. Like I went and ran some errands and just left it running, ran into places, um, and drove it around when I got something to eat, then came back home. So you're thinking, right? Like this is a battery that I've had in there. I think I'm at the 2 year mark, and it's a 7 year warranty. So you're supposed to get. I bought a high quality battery for that reason. I paid the extra for that battery for that reason, and it still died on me. so so anyway, this morning I'm like, I'm good to go, because it got really cold in Texas, which is really weird for Houston. Today it was 37 degrees. Why? Why? Who's in charge of the weather in Houston? 37? The numbers were flipped. Who did that? Let's fix that. Mercury in retrograde or somebody, let's fix that. So I'm like, that has to be it, right? It was cold. So today I go out there and I go to start it, and I was like, come on, you have to be kidding me. Like, what is going on? So I'm already in the process of, how that phrase, don't borrow trouble. It's not even so much that we borrow trouble. I think what happens is we allow vibrations from the past to come back and, and still have some movement in our lives. It's kind of like a song that you can't get out of your head. Like all day I've been singing Alessia Cara's Here. Oh, here. Like that's been in my head all day. So I've been ruminating over that song all day. I think sometimes feelings, when you get into a situation that feels like you should have some familiarity because of things that have happened in your past, I think we wear that like an old song. Like we put it on and we allow it to ruminate. And so we immediately try to tap back into the feelings of what that is supposed to feel like based on old history, even though nothing in your life feels like that. So it's like you have to stretch yourself into that, or you have to shrink, I should say, yourself into that. Oliver Wendell Holmes once said that a mind once stretched can never return to the original size that it was. Einstein, y'all know I have a mad crush on Einstein. Einstein had a similar quote, right? A mind that once is like moved and stretched with new ideas can never go back to not knowing that stuff again, right? And so once you grow from a situation, we should grow from the situation. But usually what happens, because the mind is a tricky beast and it likes comfort, so it finds comfort in the things that it already knows. Even if you've already graduated past those things, when you start going through certain things, it seeks the familiar. And so it's seeking the things that actually had the most resonance and feeling, right? And so if you went through something and it was really hard and you had a lot of emotion with it during that time, then your mind is going to go back to that thing that had the most power, right? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Just Lust Beauty. Hey. But right, your mind is going to go back to what had the most power for it, right? And so it's looking to make a connection to something deeper than itself, and it's not necessarily looking for those things that are of higher emotion at the moment. It's just looking for comfort. Like what do we do? What do we do when life gets hard? We're looking for comfort, right? Comfort foods, comfort people. You go back to an old significant other when you're lonely. What is this, cuffing season, right? Who y'all trying to cuff with right now? Y'all cuffing? So is it cuffing? Is that what you call it, cuffing season? I don't know. Like I don't even date, so I don't know what it is. But we're looking for the familiar. So the mind kind of looks for the familiar. So yesterday with what was happening with the car, and then today, like paying rent, and I've moved back. I was let go from my job in August. So I've moved back into being a full-time entrepreneur. I'm also building a nonprofit. And so I have more money going out right now than coming in. So and I live in a high rent area. So, and I rent my house. So I pay more. I pay almost double what I know some people pay for their mortgage, right? And so my rent not cheap. So usually around this time, when things start to get stressful, the mind tries to seek the familiar. So my mind was trying to seek that BS crap that I've grown from a long time ago, and it was trying to make it fit. So I found myself rehearsing Overwhelm, because I was feeling like I was supposed to be back there when I wasn't, right? I wasn't supposed to be back there. So for me, the quickest thing to do is to seek to bless someone, to help someone, to speak life. Because when I speak life into others, for others, to others, whether I'm coaching my clients that I currently have, myself, I'm my biggest client, right? Or coming on live to offer coaching to those of you who are willing to listen. Thank you guys for your presence. Happy, thank you more, please. Love you. Then that takes me out of what the mind is trying to rehearse, and it pulls me back into those higher levels of vibration. So today, after going through all that, I go back out to the car won't start, right? I'm like, come on, man. I let that battery, hey, Chip, I let that battery charge yesterday, right? I let it charge, and this is what it's going to do to me. So I come back in, and again, I'm not allowing myself now to practice or to rehearse overwhelm, which is what my mind was trying to do, was trying to rehearse what it thought it knew and what it thought I was supposed to go back to. I said, well, let me get on Facebook real quick and let me do a positive message. And I said, well, before I do that, let's be practical. Before you do that, let's actually call your warranty in, because first I had to go into my insurance app and do another service call, have them come out, because I need somebody to jump me to get me so I could get to the doggone place to get the battery fixed. So they come out to jump the battery, the same guy that came yesterday, but this time, y'all, he brought the jump box. Praise God, right? Jump, like that's what you came to do. Did you not check? But that's another story. I'm done. Okay, so he came, he jumped it, and then I called Toyota because my mother instilled this in me. Like, I'm notorious for, I go back to the dealership because I'm like, it's y'all car. If y'all mess it up. I know dealerships are notoriously a little higher than everybody else, but I'd rather have history in one place that built the car. And I used to sell cars, so I'd rather have history at the dealership than at Joe Blow's maintenance shop that could go out of business in 2 weeks and I won't know. So I call them, and the guy says to me, first they transfer me to part, and the guy says to me, yes, your battery is under warranty. And I said, thank you. I said, how long? He said, you have a 7-year warranty. That's all he said. Tricky little, I used to sell cars, so I already know that mindset. I can't even talk about him. But he said, yeah, you have a 7-year warranty. It's under warranty. I said, okay, great. Right? So they jumped me. But before the guy arrives, I do a live. So if y'all saw the live earlier, that was me. I was trying to go live. My computer kept messing up. It wouldn't let me in. The app wouldn't let me in. I finally get in, and then the guy arrives, and I made him wait for a little while so I could do my first live. I think I talked for a little while. A friend of mine called me while I was at the dealership. Texted me while I was at the dealership laughing. He was like, I watched your live. Did you really have that man waiting for you till you finished your thing? Yeah, I was encouraging myself and the people. He had to wait. He had to wait. That was my job at the moment, to not sink into overwhelm and to recognize that those signs are universal. They exist in us all. And I have believed this since I was a little girl. Anything I go through is so that I will have some type of connection to it and resonance with it, so that I can teach it and offer it to people, so that I can show people and myself how to move ourselves from where we are to where we want to be, right? So I finished that live. I go down, I get to the dealership, and y'all, I'm so glad I did that live and I was in the right frame of mind, because I get to the dealership and the man goes, well, yeah, you are under warranty, but after the 2-year mark, which I just hit 2 years in September, after the 2-year mark, you're not, hey Danielle, you're not in an established warranty. You're more so in one of those warranties where now it's like you pay a portion of the fee of what, of for the battery. And I was like, that's not what they said. That's not what they said. And he could see I'm getting frustrated. This man was so chill and cool. Later, we had this whole deep conversation on mindset and making it through things like Auschwitz, and how veterans make it through, what they make it through, PTSD. Like, we had this whole deep conversation, but this man was so chill and cool, and he could see I was working myself up. It don't take much. It don't take much sometimes, right? And I was upset, and I said, because that's not what they said on the phone. And so he was like, I understand. He said, but we're going to get it figured out. Okay. We're going to get it figured out. So at the end of the day, I had to pay for half of the battery, basically, because I also had to pay I had to pay the installation. I had to pay for part of the battery. And then my filters were bad. And so I had to pay for two filters. So I left out of there $160 later, which could have been more. He actually prorated me or didn't charge me for an inspection because I was livid because the man told me I was under a warranty and he didn't describe the warranty. And I'm like, if I'm gonna pay y'all all that, I didn't have to come all the way down to this particular Toyota. I could have gone to a different Toyota that was closer. I came to this one because this is where the work was done. But if I'm gonna have to pay anyway, I could have just gone and got a new battery anywhere. Like, you just wasted my gas. Again, working myself into overwhelm, right? But we're not trying to be overwhelmed, we're trying to overcome, right? So anyway, that experience happened, and here I am, everything's fixed. I didn't lose my mind. I still today shelled out way more money than I brought in this week, right? Between rent, bills, and the car. And I'm still okay, right? Because I'm still okay. I don't have to work myself into that situation. And just like when you guys are going through overwhelm, you don't have to work yourself back into those beliefs and thoughts of the past just because it's something that the mind has rehearsed. It's okay to teach the mind something new. It's okay to allow the mind to see something new. And this is what I hope we all walk away from here understanding. When overwhelm comes into our lives, when overwhelm slides into your DMs, I see I tried to be all cultural, have a nice social cultural reference right there. But when overwhelm tries to sneak in, what we have to realize is that it's not so much that we're overwhelmed. The mind's thoughts are overwhelmed. You're not overwhelmed. Your thoughts are overwhelmed. Because if you think about it, when something is happening in your life, aside from, right, thank you, Danielle, the universe is unlimited, right? And so we don't have to be overwhelmed. There's so much in the world for us, but our thoughts are trying to move a million miles an hour, and it's trying to come up with all these things. Like, one thing to understand is that psychologically, believe it or not, we are all schizophrenic. The mind is, just is automatically, that's not the word I want to use. My brain won't let the word come out that I'm trying to use, but the brain is schizophrenic. That means that the mind can hold on to, or the brain can hold on to and think about a million things, right? And it'll be fine. It's when you introduce one more thing to it that it kind of starts to fall apart. And if you think about schizophrenia in people who have actual schizophrenia, if you think about it, they are in conversation with millions of themselves. They have so many parts of themselves that they can't really hold on to, so they just let them free. But that's kind of what we do anyway. So it only becomes a disorder when the brain can't hold on anymore. And so we all have our moments of schizophrenia where the brain is doing so much, and then you introduce one more thing, you're juggling all these balls, you introduce one more ball, and it's like, whoa, everything just falls apart. All the eggs on the floor. Your egg on your face, the base in your face. Not an 8-track, I'm sorry. So my brain is naturally schizophrenic, if y'all didn't know that. Woo! But Danielle said, wear the world like a loose garment. Wear the world like a loose garment. Yeah. Schizophrenics are overstimulated. Absolutely. And that's what happens when we're in overwhelm, right? We get overstimulated with the little things. And again, it goes into those things that we have practiced and rehearsed across our lifetime. And so the way you deal with overwhelm just really should say to you, this is it's showing me my history, right? The way we deal with problems is really just a mirror of our history and how we've always managed it, or how we've always seen it or looked at it. I'm telling you, the older I get, and this is because for years, after leaving the military, I didn't deal with a lot of the things that I should have dealt with once I left. The military doesn't have a great exit strategy. When you're leaving a corporation, they make sure that you have an exit strategy, right? They make sure that, that you've talked to somebody. You turn in your computer, give me my computer back. Let's talk about what we owe you and pay. Here's your vacation days. Like they make sure you go through. The military has something like that, but really for everything that they put on our backs, they don't unpack it when it's time for us to leave. And so we kind of bring it home, And then society tells us that we now have to try to fit into being civilized again, being civilians again, when that training that's gone, right? The new training has overtaken all that. And so we come back and we're now trying to be something that we don't have the skills to be. And so for me, as I get older, I tend to settle into the upset and anger more, and I never used to before. So it's teaching me something, right? And I have to ask myself, why does this come up? And I'm so thankful that because I practice that, and I practice coaching skills on myself all the time, I'm able to get a handle on it. Like today when I was at the dealership and the guy was calmly talking to me. Normally, if I'm already checked out, I would see that as don't placate to me like that. Don't do that. Don't treat me like that, right? But now that I'm getting a grip on it, I was able to allow that exchange of energy so that I didn't have to go to a place of rehearsed overwhelm. Why do I need to do that? Why do I need to act that way? I don't. Ask yourself when things like that happen, why do you need to do that? Why do you need to act that way? You don't, right? It's just a rehearsal. It's like you always rehearse for the part before you do the big production. And that's usually what happens. We are rehearsing old information before we step, fully onto the stage. And the mind is always seeking to rehearse old information because it likes a big comfy blanket. It likes to be comfortable. It likes to be wrapped up tight and snug as a bug in a rug, right? So the way you go from overwhelm to overcoming is by, number one, realizing that the way you're dealing with the situation is a past behavior and a past trigger. And it's the mind looking to fall back into old patterns because old patterns make it feel good, right? That old, like my favorite pajamas are the really old ones that have like the holes and, like they're overly stretched. Unless it's wintertime, then I'm cold. So, but I like the comfort, the things that are well worn. The brain does too. It likes things that are well worn, you know. And another way is to realize, like Danielle said earlier, when she said schizophrenics are overstimulated, the brain is usually overstimulated. It's like, again, it's trying to juggle so many things. And now you introduce this one concept that it wasn't ready for. I wasn't ready. It wasn't ready. And here you are, lobbing the ball. It's like playing softball with somebody with a blindfold on, and you just throw the ball and don't tell them it's coming. They're getting hit right in the face, right? So the brain can't handle that thing that it just never saw coming. I'm telling you guys, with this pandemic, I go to the grocery store. I may run by my sister's house to pick up or drop off something. I'll go pick up my mail because I have a P.O. box, but I don't do much. So the dead battery situation, never saw it coming, right? Didn't expect that. And so that on top of everything else going on can send you into overwhelm because it was that thing that you didn't see coming. But for me, it wasn't a true overwhelm because it was a practice behavior. Hey, Terrence, is that Terrence Nelson? Sorry, y'all. Siri, shush, Siri. She trying to call Terrence. Oh, Lord Jesus. Shush. I got to turn her off. So it was just a practice behavior, right? And so we tend to practice behaviors in our mind. And then when something happens, it's like, bam, here you go. Here's the reaction that you've been looking for. But I didn't want that reaction. I didn't even know I was rehearsing it, which is why in order to move from overwhelm into overcoming, we have to practice the behaviors that we really want to show up. We have to practice being the people that we really want to be. We have to practice doing the things that we really want to do. That way, those old patterns and behaviors don't reign supreme in our lives, but they're going to if we don't acknowledge that they are on autopilot. There's a psychological saying that we think 50 to 75,000 thoughts per day, and 80% of them are negative. 50 to 75,000 thoughts a day. How many of those thoughts do you think you have control over? I'll wait. I don't even need to wait. We'll have control over a lot of them because we're not even conscious of the fact that they're there. But there they are, right? Running in the background. And every now and then one to come to our remembrance, and it's like, oh, a thought. When I work with my clients, we work on a feelings journal. So if you guys are if you guys are ever having a situation where, Terry, did you really want to be in my live video, or was that a mistake? Because you sent me a request to be in my video. So if you're ever having a situation where your thoughts or your behaviors are running rampant and you would love to get a handle on them and you want to find out what your triggers are, start a feelings journal. And what a feelings journal is whenever you do an action and you're not really sure what led up to it, or whenever you have a thought that inspires an action, and again, you're not sure what led up to it, you kind of write it all out, right? A mistake. Okay, I was about to say, come on in, let's go. But you kind of write down, so before this happened, this is what my body felt like, or before this happened, this is what I was thinking. Hey, Shabron and Kanisha. So before this happened, this is kind of what I was thinking or doing. If you can get a handle on the triggers that lead to certain things, if you can get a handle on the actions that kind of lead to certain things, what people don't realize is that every single time you have a thought, there's an accompanying action that goes with it. And it's all unconscious because the body actually responds to cues from the mind, and vice versa. The mind responds to cues from the body. So if the mind is trying to have these depressive thoughts, like again, which is why I came on live earlier, if the mind is trying to have these depressive and oppressive thoughts, right? And you start a dance party, you turn on some music and just start jamming your butt off, it's confused. They don't know what to do, but it can't be depressed anymore. Because dancing, and not just me doing that one little move, my energy is now in my body starting to rise. I feel it. I feel like the goosebumps. I feel all the things happening because I did a movement that my body recognizes as happiness. And so now the mind has to quickly convert itself to match the energy of what's happening on the outside, and vice versa. When there are happy thoughts happening on the inside, but your mood is depressed, it is much easier to get up off the couch. How many of you guys have that good friend to where when you are depressed or sad or whatever, and they come over and they try to make you laugh and try to make you do things to get you out of that state, because they know that if they can get you up and moving, then it is much easier to get your brain to comply or your mind to comply, and vice versa. So a feelings journal just kind of puts you to, it kind of lets you know what you were thinking, what you were doing, how you were feeling that was leading up to the action that you created, right? So for me today, when I started having those thoughts of, well, I should be depressed or sad, or I should feel whatever because of the fact that my car was acting a fool, right? Then I need to understand and know what was happening before that. What was I doing before that? What do you wish, Danielle? You said I wish. What do you wish? What did that go to? But I need to understand and know where that, like what my body was feeling, what my mind was thinking, so that I could get a handle on that trigger. So that when that starts to happen, I'll feel it in my body. Okay, so here's a good, in case I'm rambling, here's a good one. You ever been walking down the street and all of a sudden the hairs on the back of your neck raise up, or you get those goosebumps, and if those creepy goosebumps, like somebody's watching you, and you turn around and you see either a person or you see an animal, because it's like, oh, you wish you had a friend that does that? You do. You told me about it. But you see something that I'm not saying Siri, sorry y'all, my computer is going crazy, she getting turned off. But you see something that lets you know that what those feelings were matches, what was happening in your mind or in your body. And so it's all connected. You know, like if you're really, really, really sad, I do this all the time. Like when I'm training people to be life coaches. One thing I teach them all the time is that how the mind and the body is connected. Because I'll say something like, just sitting there right now, just frown real hard, frown, frown, frown. The more you frown, like, see, I'm frowning and I feel it, like the energy in your body starts to go low level energy. It's going low because the body knows, oh, wait, that's a frown. Now the mind is like, a frown usually says I should be sad or depressed. And so that means that this high energy that I had, it has to match this frown. So it's going to create everything in my environment to match the frown. Same thing. If you want to reverse it, just smile really hard. You know, go crazy. The energy changes itself. It reverses because everything is married together. Everything has to match. That's how the brain works. So a feelings journal shows you where your matches are. It shows you that when I think like this, when I do these things, this is what's happening in my body. So now when I feel this happening in my body, if I feel these goosebumps or if I feel this, my stomach flip flopping, then I know that that's energy that matches a certain thought. And then I can stop and say, wait a minute, Tanoa, something's not right because you only feel like this when X. And then you can kind of get a handle on it and kind of understand, not kind of, but you can understand where that overwhelm is coming from, and you can stop it. You can cut it off at his knees, make it bloody. I don't know where that came from, but you can get a handle on it and not have to deal with it like that. So again, earlier today for me, when I recognized it, when I was like, wait a minute, girl, your body doesn't even match the angst and depression that you think you have. Because let me tell you, when you pay the rent I pay, and then I pay for the car, and then I have to pay some other bills, and then I treated my daughter to dinner because after a day like today, I wasn't cooking. I have to be thankful, and I have to say, you know what? Look, the fact that I can still do those things, right? And I don't have a steady income coming in. The fact that I can do those things and I have not reached out to more clients than the few I have now, right? The fact that I can do that and not be depressed. Now let me tell you though, like I know it's on the back burner, and it's like, girl, what you gonna do in a couple months if you don't get it together? What you gonna do in the da-da-da if you don't get it together? But that's I don't have to borrow trouble. We don't have to borrow trouble. Going from overwhelm to overcome is just simply understanding that you're not borrowing the troubles of tomorrow. You're not rehearsing the troubles of yesterday. You are living in the now, and you are accepting the fact that you are the most powerful being that you know. There is nobody else in this world that can get you out of the situations that you have gotten yourself in better than you. And that's because you know you. And if you take the time to do the work, you will be able to acknowledge that you know you better than anybody else. I tell my clients, it is not my job to know you better than you. It is my job to help you see you. I don't have to know you better than you, right? I don't have to have all the answers. As a coach, I don't have to have any answers. I just know I have to know how to listen. And y'all pretend this is reflective, okay? Suspend disbelief. And I have to be able to show you you. See yourself right there? You see it? You see yourself looking like a block of wood? Just saying. But you have to be able to show somebody themselves. And then at the end of the day, in order to know yourself, you have to be able to show yourself yourself. You have to be willing to acknowledge that that's what you see, that's what you've done, that's who you are. And it doesn't mean that because some of these things are negative that you're a bad person. You just acknowledge it. Like the 3 things I talk about all the time, and I'm gonna wrap with it. My fingers look so short, and they're not. But the 3 things I'm gonna talk about, I'm gonna wrap up that I talk about all the time is, in order to move from where you are to where you want to be, you have to know 3 things. You have to know who you are, you have to know where you are, and you have to know why you are. Who are you and why do you believe that about yourself? How did you get to be this person? Who had an influence in your life that convinced you that that's who you are? What happened in your life to show you that this was the person you had to be in order to accomplish the things that you've accomplished and in order to have the things that you have? Who said it? How'd you adopt it? How did you hold on to it? Right? So who are you and why do you believe that's who you are? Why do you believe that's who you're supposed to be? Number 2, where you are. You have to know where you are. Just like in any good situation where you are looking for directions, the first thing they say is, in order for me to tell you to where you're going, I have to know what? I have to know where you are. So you have to be able to GPS yourself. If you don't know yourself, you won't know your geographical spiritual location. How did I get here? Right? How did I get to this position in my life? What steps did I take to get here? Oh, that song is back, y'all. I told you I've been singing here all day. Oh, here. Hey, Jackie Creeks. So you have to be able to know what steps you took to get to where you are. Where are you, Tanoa? You know, when you walk into any mall, which many of us don't do nowadays because of the pandemic, I miss shopping. Just started talking about money early. I don't need to be shopping, but you walk into the mall and it's a mall you've never been to before, right? And you're looking for a specific store. Well, in order to find that store, what do you first need to find? If you don't see anybody around you, you need to find what? You need to find that map in the mall, and you're looking for those 3 specific words, those words that make you feel better than anything when you are lost in the mall. You are here. That's what a coach does. That's what I do for people. I help people know you are here. This is where you are, and now this is where we're trying to take you. That's the exact job of a coach. I could call myself a mall legend. Oh, I like that, y'all. I'm a mall legend. Just not sound as big as I want it to be. A mall legend don't sound real big, but that's what I am. I'm like a mall legend. You are here. This is where you are. Once I know where I am, then I can acknowledge the steps I need to take to move me from where I am to where I need to be, where I are. I used to always ask my kids this when I taught in public school. When they would get in trouble and I would take them in the hall, I wouldn't take them in the hall and berate them. The first thing out of my mouth would be, what do you want to be when you grow up? Throw them all off, right? They just thrown off. They don't know what do you mean? Where'd that question come from? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know, right? And then when they say, like, let's say they say, I want to be a doctor, right? Or a sportscaster or whatever. I want to play in the NFL. Okay. So then what are you doing today, right now today, to make that dream of being a doctor, sportscaster, NFL player, superstar come true? Because you can't wait until that moment and then go audition for the NFL and not have been prepared all these years. You can't walk into medical school or even college, your first class, and be ready for what it's going to take to get through medical school. That starts today. So how did I get to where I am? That means that if there are some things in my life that I have done that are not going to prepare me for that next moment, I need to reverse them. I need to pull them back, flip them, and reverse them. I don't need to do them anymore because they're now a hindrance to my dreams. They are a hindrance to my goals. And so I have to be able to acknowledge that, not in shame or guilt, not to get into overwhelm, not to feel differently or badly about myself, but to actually be honest and true about who I am and how I got there. Because the who I am automatically inspires the how I go and the where I go and the with whom I go there with. So who are you? Where are you? And the third one, there you go. And the third one, why are you? This is my favorite. Hey, Mariah, this is my favorite one to talk about. Because why are you points to what? Purpose. Why are you here? Why are you here? When you walk into the mall, when you take yourself, who am I, into the mall, where am I, and you look at that legend and it says you are here. The next question really is to get you to where you want to go and to get you to that store that you're trying to get to in the mall. Why are you at the mall? Why are you here? Are you at the mall to find shoes for a toddler? Then you may want Kids Foot Locker, right? Are you at the mall to find sexy lingerie? Because unlike me, you got people to see and dates and stuff, right? Then you're going to need to find like Victoria's Secret. Unless you're a man, don't wear, do they sell men stuff? No, because it's Victoria. There's not Victor's Secret. But you need to know why you are here. Why are you here on this earth? What is it that you were intended to do? that you were placed here as you, being the only person in the world that can be you is you. There's this quote that scientists have proven that we had a 1 in 400,000 chance of being who we are, and we won. That means nobody else could be you. 1 in 400,000. That's like the lottery, right? Like they say, you have 1 in a million chance of winning. We still play, and then get mad later. I ain't even win. Well, it's kind of 1 in a million chance, but you had a 1 in 400,000 opportunity. 1 in 400,000 people opportunity to be who you are. Isn't that amazing? That means you beat out 399,999 people to be who you are. I may have left off some numbers, but we're gonna act like I didn't. But you had, like you beat out all those people. Or, if we're going to biology, that one sperm beat out all those other sperm, and you became you. Celebrate that. But why are you here? Why did it win? What are you here to do? In order to not be overwhelmed, if you know all those things, if you know who you are, where you are, and why you are, if you're able to sit down every day and follow the path, follow that yellow brick road in your own life to get you to where you're trying to be, there's no need to be overwhelmed. There's no need to practice those behaviors of the past that convince us we need to be something specific, because the mind is rehearsing all these past things because it likes comfort zones. And so even if that comfort zone, oh, thank you, Mariah. So even if that comfort zone is something that hurts us, it likes it. Believe it or not, that is twisted, but it likes it because it understands it. And it understands what it needs to do in order to get there, get to a new place, or to be safe. So it likes safety. It seeks safety. And in order for it to be safe, it has to find those things that it knows, that it understands, that it could wrap itself up in, right? It needs to get that blanket and wrap itself up. And so there's no need to be overwhelmed if we understand these things. And that means that we're willing to do our own work, not necessarily reach for a bottle, and I may just be jealous because I can't drink. So, my body literally rejects the alcohol and I get sick. So I don't drink. I may drink socially, but why? Right. So, but we don't need to do drugs. I'm not jealous of that. But I don't do drugs either. Right. My body don't even like medication. So, which is why people ask me all the time, are you just like this normally? Because when they see me at a party, I am turned up, and people be like, I want some of what you're drinking. And it takes somebody at the party with me to say, she don't drink. They be like, what? Like, that's just natural. It's just natural. Hey. It's natural. It just comes out. I don't know. People think I'm mean when they first meet me, but you ain't seen me at a party with some music on. But but if you just take the time to understand who you are, where you are, why you are, if you understand the situation that you're in and how the brain works and operates, and that the brain is looking to just be comfortable, and you create new levels of comfort so that it doesn't have to reach back, that it can just be who it is, then you don't have to do all those other things to self-medicate or self-direct or reflect. Just get you a pen and paper and write it down. Right? I was about to bust a rap for y'all, but I remembered it was a rap I wrote in high school. Get out a pen and paper. You may want to take notes. Don't blackball me. Give me good votes. It's unanimous with negative. So why vote again? Hey, y'all don't even understand. I should have moved to New York and gotten discovered. That's another story. Who are you to know? Where are you? Why are you? Was I intended to be a rapper? I don't know. I may pull out my notebook later and go through this again, because I think I may have needed to move to New York instead of California. I would have been a rapper. Hey, I will say I'm just playing, but I don't think I am. I really don't think I am. So, you know. But I understand. I know I'm doing exactly what I was intended to do, not on the scale that I'm supposed to do it on, and that will come. I had some intentional, well, I won't say intentional. I allowed myself some setbacks over the years, and now I'm moving myself back into position. And so maybe y'all see me on the big screen one day on just keep those thoughts out in the universe for me. Keep those thoughts out, like, hey, let's go to Noah. But this is what I'm intended to do. So that's why when I'm going through something, I'm quick to share it. I'm quick to be as open and transparent as possible, because first of all, it's just life. At the end of the day, we only have a limited time here. And why am I going to spend my limited amount of time being not jealous or intimidated or untruthful or hiding out because of something that has happened to me in my past? I can't do that. Now, do I tell everybody everything? No. There are some things that you just don't know, right? But I am willing to share. Hey, Randy, I am willing to share the things that I go through because that's what's been placed on my heart and in my life, for me to be able to share those things, to help people to move from where they are to where they want to be, and to give people the tools to know that it's very easy to move ourselves into where we're supposed to be if we just do the steps and do the work. You just have to do your own work. You know, the gentleman I was talking to today, remember I told y'all the guy I was talking to today at the dealership, who actually helped me to stay calm and, you know, actually helped me out a lot. One of the things that he said to me, he said, you know, Tanoa, he said, I had a terrible life. I had a terrible childhood. And I'm just impressed and honored that I can be the man that I am today. Man, that touched me in a way y'all don't even understand. Y'all don't even understand, because it's like when I talk to people, I'm eye to eye always. I'm not looking anywhere else, but I'm eye to eye. It's eye to eye contact, and you know that makes some people uncomfortable, but it's just who I am. And he was kind of like that too. He was just like intense, like eye to eye, and I could tell I was watching him. And when he said that part, he said that he's just like when he was, come on Siri, stop. I can't wait to turn her off, y'all. So but he said I had a horrible childhood. And when he said that, I felt that. That wasn't something you don't tell. Like, there are some people that have said to you, I had a horrible childhood. And it really comes out like, I had a horrible childhood. Like, they're looking for some sympathy, right? They're not even looking for empathy. They're not even looking for you to tell them how strong they are. They really just want to suck your energy so that they feel better about themselves. Because, I don't know, there are people who kind of feel like if they can make you feel badly for them, then you're giving them all this attention that they didn't otherwise have, because they don't know how to do it for themselves, right? And so, no, it wasn't that. That was like one of the most powerful statements that he could have made, because he made it from such a place of power and self-respect, and he understood who he was in the moment in which he said it. So it can't do anything but to empower you, right? It was like at one point he was talking to me and he was like having me sign my thing and checking me out, not like that, not checking me out like, hey girl, hey. No, he was like, you know, checking me out and giving me my receipt. And this other salesperson walks up with a client, and they were both kind of like frantic. And the man is seriously sitting here talking to me, and the guy steps up and is like, hey, let me ask you a question. And the guy, you know, and the guy that I was working with kind of looks at the other guy, and he was like, okay, 1 second, I'm with somebody. And so I looked at the guy and I was like, did he not see? And before I could finish, he was like, it's okay. I took care of it. And I was like, you're right. You sure right. Because y'all know where I was about to go. Do you not see me standing here? Like, that is the rudest thing you could do to somebody. Like, why would you, who do you think you, like, yeah. And he was like, I got it. Because he understood. So in the midst of those two guys now hawking him, he still finished his conversation and went on to tell me like some of these things. And it was meant for us to connect. It was meant for him to help me through that process. So I ain't tear up Toyota today. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have. Because growth and prosperity and abundance are in my life, and I don't need to tear up Toyota. Y'all see I'm still talking myself through it. So but it was intended for me to meet him and hear that. And so I want to say that to you. No matter what you've gone through in your life, and I have to look at Instagram too, no matter what you've gone through in your life, if you think about it, that GPS is leading you somewhere, right? Because when you put all of those three things I named earlier, who you got, knowing who you are, knowing where you are, knowing why you are, when you put them into one spaceship, they are now trying to travel you through space to get you to that next level. But you have to understand them all cohesively. And you have to be willing to understand them without giving in to the drama of them, but just using it for information. It's just information. Like Carl Jung once said, you have to be both the artist to paint the picture, but then you have to be able to step back from the picture and be the spectator. And spectators are usually not emotionally attached to the painting when they're spectating about it, right? They're not emotionally involved with the painting. They're just saying what they see. Well, I noticed his use of light colors versus dark. I noticed his shadows, right? I notice he likes green. Like they, that's what you're doing in your life. You have to be willing to step back and look at your life and say, this is the life that I painted. Siri's getting on my nerves. And say, I called her name again because I'm crazy. But you have to be willing to look back at what you've painted in this world and understand that it's neither good nor bad. It's just information. And it's information that's going to take you to the next level if you allow that information to be what it's supposed to be. Hey, Jonathan, in your life. And that is information that is to inform you of your next step. And that's it. Right? So no need to be overwhelmed. Just know that if you know who you are, where you are, why you are, if you understand what's happening in the world, in your world, because you are the world, right? I am the universe. I am the universe. And you're the universe. We're just all little glimpses of the universe. Right? And if you understand that, then you'll need to be overwhelmed. You will always move into overcoming, because that means that you are always moving into the highest form of yourself. And you're never allowing, or you're not allowing, or you're controlling the allowance of falling back into old patterns of behavior simply because they feel good. They may not feel good, but they feel good. You know what I mean? The brain likes them because it understands them. And that's it. That's Zales. So I promised I was going to come back. I don't want nobody saying, you said you would come back and you didn't. I had another friend I was helping with a big paper. And so after I finished with her paper and I ate me some dinner, so I wasn't a hungry bear, mad at the world. And I didn't even watch The Voice. Y'all love The Voice. And today they were announcing who got kicked off. And I was like, I'm going live. I'll watch The Voice tomorrow. So y'all must mean something to me. I like y'all. All righty. Das is alles. I never sell anything at the end of these. The only thing I want to sell to you is your reflection of yourself and your hopes and dreams. One day I will probably come over here peddling something, but I just really like to do this and I really like to talk and help people. And people always say, oh, you're giving yourself for free too much. But I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. And just like today, I paid my rent, I would pay it again. Or I'm going to finally do what I said I was going to do and get me a sugar daddy. I want to be your sugar daddy. Give you kisses. I don't need the kisses. I just want the, hire me an assistant. Okay, y'all. I will talk to y'all Sunday for sure. I don't know if I'll pop back on again this week. Something else may spark my, mind and set my heart aflame and, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Hey. But until then, I just hope that this blessed y'all, encouraged y'all in some type of way. And as always, feel free to reach out if you need to. And other than that, I will see y'all Sunday and hopefully my hair will be combed. I don't know. We're going to see. You get what you get. Information's free. Love y'all. Bye.